inspiration a factor to hit your goals and everything that you achieved? How much did that play an influence for you?
I think inspiration is very good, but I think movement is more important. Like you can be inspired by looking at a mountain that's out your window, but it would be much more beneficial to you to put your boots on and climb the mountain as opposed to just look at it every day and wow, I'm so inspired by this Mount Everest outside my window. So like for me, it was always just having something, accomplishing it, putting a new goal, accomplishing it, putting a new goal, accomplishing it, putting a new goal, accomplishing it. That's more important than having this like inspirational thing. It's about knocking the dominoes down and constantly knocking something down. And that's actually how our brain works, like the dopamine of our brain. Like you have to accomplish something all the time. And you can have a big goal that might take you 6 months to accomplish. And that's why I always say, well, then you need to break it down to 30-day cycles. Or 90-day. You have to break it down to be accomplishing something. I wouldn't say inspiration is so powerful. It's accomplishing things.
The actual doing, which can create the inspiration itself.
It's the culmination. It's like even the doing, like if we use the climbing the mountain, it's like climbing up the mountain doesn't really do that much. But when you get to the top, that's the end. You have to start something else again. Now, someone could say, well, how do I get to the top and go from the bottom to the top in one go? Well, what they do is they create base camps. They create things where it's a sub milestone or a sub accomplishment along the way. Like relatively speaking, when I bought these shoes, are these the most expensive things that I'd ever bought at the time? Fuck no. I'd spent way more money than that. But it was just another little random milestone that I just put in front of myself as a game, like just a little breadcrumb. Like, I've never spent any money on shoes. Like I've never bought any expensive shoes. I'll just do that. So that this week, there was some random thing that I did. You know, the other day I did, or the other week actually, I did something I'd never done before. Again, not the most amount of money I've ever spent. I gave money to charity. I've never done that before. It's just a game. You just have to keep doing something that you've never done before and accomplishing random different things. Yeah?
Very helpful.
Each of those in advance?
No, like the moment that you build this into momentum, often it's kind of like let's say I had one a month over a 12-month period. On average, half of them would have been pre-planned and half of them are like natural manifestations from me being in momentum. So it's like because I was in that momentum of keep putting a new goal in front of myself, the charity one just came to me. Like I didn't think about that. The opportunity presented itself. Momentum kind of drives itself.
Was there an overall goal you were reaching towards during the journey, and then you put breadcrumbs along the way as stepping stones, kind of, so to speak?
No, and that's great question. That's one of the things that I think people do wrong, and that kind of leads back to the like my big why. It's like it's too far away, man. Like, what you got a 5-year plan? How the fuck do you know what you want in 5 years?
5 years is kind of far, but maybe one is more.
I still think one's too far. I don't know what I'm doing in the next 3 months. But what I do know is that over the next 3 months, I'm going to have experiences I've never had and buy things I've never bought and meet people I've never met and say things I've never said.
What if the 1 year plan isn't something that you have total control over, in the sense of there's just external time factors that need to take place? It's not just money, for example. And so
then that to me is when people get frustrated.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't be setting your main current goal based on something that has external factors that you don't have control over. Because then you're just going to get really fucking frustrated.
How do you do that though when inherently some level of success that you have in sales is related to the work? Like some of us can't make 50K, some of us can't make 100K. Right? So how do you balance that?
So yeah, you should have goals that you can accomplish at a stretch in the next, I think a decent time frame is about 6 months. I don't think you should have goals that you're setting which are like, I can't currently accomplish this. No matter what I do, there's absolutely no way I can accomplish this.
I suppose to answer the question, what I think what you're saying from that, you just got to look at the numbers and be like, well, what could you do? And is that possible?
Yeah.
And then like
if you look at that and the biggest action is I need to get on a new offer, then get on a new offer. Yeah. I think Jacob was saying more like if there's maybe not a financial goal necessarily, but like a tangible goal that you can't accomplish right now because of external factors. Let's say that those factors need 12 months to move out the way. If your motivation is being driven by your goal, and in front of your goal is hurdles that you have no control over, how much drive are you going to receive from that? Not very much. You can still have that far away goal, but you need to have then other goals that are going to drive you forward that you have control over. And so you break down the resistance of the 12 months having these blockages by creating sub milestones that aren't blocked. It's like you're hacking the game, kind of. Make sense?
Josh, I have a question. When Brody mentions inspiration, what comes to mind is excitement. That's
me?
how I define it
Oh.
as inspiration. So, what we were talking about yesterday, how was asking, what excites you? So I was just wondering, like, maybe that's what Brody was trying to ask. Like, for you, when you set your goals, like, are you like excited about it? Like, is there that little kid, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that? Like, that's how I resonated when Brody asked inspiration, as opposed to more like, yeah, as opposed to motivation. It was more excitement.
I'm not quite following the question. So am I excited when I set my goals? Is that what you're
Yeah,
asking?
or is it just like, oh, I'm just gonna do something that I've never done?
For me, that's more where the excitement comes.
Okay.
Of doing something I haven't done before, having something I haven't had, knowing something I haven't known, meeting someone I haven't met. For me, it's just progress. Like, progress is just so fundamentally enlivening for me that I optimize for progress. I optimize for, I don't want to quite say the word novelty, but kind of novelty. Because like often, and that's kind of why I probably am not resonating with the conversation about inspiration, is why do most people need inspiration? Because they haven't had anything new in their life for 5 fucking years. So they need to go out to the fucking Colorado mountains and look at a fucking deer to get inspiration. It's like, I don't need inspiration. I just put myself in so many new situations, whether it's a new feeling from buying something new, a new conversation from talking to someone new, a new opportunity from being in a new place, that my inspiration is just all the time. I'm inspired. I just get light bulb moments all the time. Does that make sense? That the inspiration that you're craving often comes from the novelty that you don't proactively put into your life. You're welcome.
Boring when you get it anyway.
What do you mean?
It's the thing that's like a novelty that you think is inspiration. To a degree, it's exciting.
Yeah.
But then once you achieve it, you're just like, like I had a goal of getting a Tesla Model Y for years. Finally, I had it. The first 2 weeks, I was elated.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, oh, it's another car.
Right.
Okay.
And
Blinker error. Oh, maintenance on the tires.
yeah, and then
Like, oh.
yeah, and the problem why it kind of faded was because during the pursuit of the Tesla and around about the time of getting the Tesla, you haven't had enough other novelty moments to have new inspiration.
That's what I
Like you need a spring, you need a well of inspiration, which is new experiences that are going to constantly feed you with inspiration. Most people don't have a well, they don't have a spring. They're just sat at home in front of their computer going, I need inspiration.
Well, because what happened too was that was the thing, and a lot of things are the thing. And
Right.
so
Oh,
when
yeah.
you get the thing, you're like, awesome, and then it's gone because that feeling just naturally fades.
Yep.
And then you're wondering, oh, I didn't pick a next thing, and it's like you kind of go up and down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just to touch up on that. So this stems from me speaking with my psychologist about this stuff, and one of the things that she had mentioned was that I crave novelty since I was very young, and that's something that, yeah. So that's something that I've personally, and I don't know if you guys relate to this. It drives me to where I am right now in life, for the better or for the worst. Now my question is like, you're saying like you should crave that novelty, you should crave those moments. Does that also have to do with the personality type that you have, though?
I think the catch there is you like to crave novelty. Like we crave things that we have scarcity around.
Right.
If you don't
Okay.
have scarcity around something, you don't crave it. If like, it's kind of being like, should you crave wanting to eat? It's like, well, I'm only going to want the desire of craving what I eat if I'm always full. Like, why would I not just naturally get to that point?
Maybe crave is not the right word, but I desired. I desired because there's certain things that I just personally I'm looking forward to a new experience, a new high, a new fix, if that makes sense. Because
Yeah.
that's what turns me on. That's what my life revolves around. And if I don't have that, I feel like something's off in my life. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, I kind of view it as like if you're riding on a bicycle and you're pedaling, do you really remember that you're pedaling? No,
Not
you're
really,
just
no.
looking around like, oh, the scenery is changing and I'm
Yeah,
driving,
yeah.
cycling past people. It's just like, I just view it as if I just keep pedaling and keep moving forward, I'm not desiring more novelty. I'm not craving more novelty. It just comes to me constantly. The scenery beside me while I'm pedaling on the bicycle just keeps changing. Whereas it's like if you start to slow down or stop, you're like, oh, I need to move again. I'm desiring novelty. I'm craving novelty. I don't really think you should get to a point where you're desiring it or craving it. It should just be automatic that you're having these new realizations constantly from just making progress
Because of the life you built. Or
because
you're
of the
building.
life you're living. Yeah. Yeah. Like, a lot of salespeople say, oh, my prospects don't open up. It's like, probably because you're boring as fuck as a
'Cause you don't
person.
open up.
Now, it doesn't mean on your sales call you should be talking about your life,
Sure.
but you communicate that energetically.
Yes.
You get boring people on the phone probably because you're a boring person. Doesn't mean talk about, the skydiving you just did in the Grand Canyon, but people can feel that you're living a cool life. And the more you do that, the more you just magnetically attract cool people onto your phone calls.
That's so true.
That's what he was saying when you said how do you bring that energy into your sales calls. Like this is something I noticed when you speak. It's you can see it too, and you can feel it. But often for me, it's expressed when I feel it most is when you're speaking, because that energy transference I can hear and feel it. And so I think that's what's happening, at least for me, on my calls. That's how it gets expressed. Obviously, how you physically present yourself, your environment, all that. But really, it's when we're communicating.
Yeah.
And so that's how, when you asked, how does he bring it to his sales calls if he was being lustful, for example?
I hear you, man.
You can sense it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like when I listen to you speak, you're very calm, you're very collective. I can feel that you have things together. You're working towards what you want and building the life you desire.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that and you're communicating with people, they're going to feel it.
Yeah, it's almost the space between the notes. Like if you imagine when you're speaking as like a musical score, like the notes, two people could be singing the same song, but the space between the notes, you're still communicating what else is going on in your life. And if your life isn't all together, you could be singing the same song, but people like it feels different. It just sounds different. Yeah, you got to be focusing on the space between the notes. Are you living the life that you want to live, or are you attempting to live the life you want to live? Yeah.
That's the first advice you ever gave me. It's 2 years ago, actually. About you said go live a more driven life
Yeah.
because you don't have drive.
No pun intended that you got a car. Yeah, drive.
Right?
Yeah.
He went to get a Mustang.
Yeah.
That's advice I've been given, and it was like slap. And I was like, I needed that, right? But I was like, I was the guy that was boring. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't going anywhere.
And now you've said that, I hadn't actually connected it, but I notice a massive difference in your confidence.
Yeah, dude, even I do, man.
Yeah, I only just, now you said it and the way you're sitting and your shirt and just, I don't know, you seem so much more,
Cucumber, right?
what's that?
Who was a cucumber?
Yeah, but before you were more timid. You were like trying to figure things out, and it's like the more you try and figure things out by sitting there trying to figure things out, you're not going to figure things out. You have
Exactly.
to just go and start living a fucking life.
I don't
And then,
have it all figured out, and it's like I think part of me is like I accepted that, and that's good. That's
Yeah.
okay. Because if I did, kind of like, well, that's boring then, right? But like it's the excitement of like doing the things. I'm not worried about where I'll end up because I know that I'm going to end up somewhere good. I don't know where or what it's going to look like.
Right.
I have accepted for myself that like I'm not the type of person that's going to have a shitty life because I know who I am and how I'm making decisions at this point in time. Like, I can only hold myself to a higher standard in the future. Like, I'm not going to drop down. And like, I think that helps with it. So yeah, all the bells and whistles, the car, the traveling, it's like, it's fucking cool. I think the biggest thing though is like just me. It's like I've changed who I am within a year.
Yep.
And so thank you.
Beautiful.
Because
My pleasure, man.
yeah.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
I said that this morning too. It's literally I'm going back through all of the old live trainings and just like whenever I'm on a walk and all of that stuff, and like sometimes you don't see your own progress because it's just day by day, right? But then when I look at someone like Pete or Nicole, right, who've been here for ages, and like Christian as well, like I'm watching the old trainings and then seeing them here viscerally, and it's like, fuck, these are totally new people.
100%.
And I'm gone through that same thing within like 6 months of being in it. But again, it's like you just are with like a horse with blinders or whatever, you're just kind of doing your thing, and then you're only focusing on the bad parts. Like, oh, I still got to fix this. I still got to improve in this part. And then you don't look at shit. All of these things have changed because of the environment and because of the things I've been putting myself through. So I think that helps in a way, going back and seeing someone else that's gone through that journey. Because then you're like, fuck, I'm also doing that. I'm just being blind to it. So because that's also like you've grown fucking loads. And it's like, and this is the first time I've met you, but you can just, you feel that transference from like the first calls that I've ever seen you on to like now, which is awesome.
The key word there is you feel it.
Yeah.
You can see it as well, you can hear it as well, but more importantly, you just feel when you're around someone different. And we're around you in person, but we would be able to feel that through a Zoom call as well. In other words, your prospects are feeling that change. Yeah.